to do all of these things at the same time. I am grateful that Christianity is not some syrupy, sweet religion. And believe it or not, I think that that's probably one of the things that has turned so many people off from faith. Christians are not relatable. They're not identifiable. I can't understand what they're saying because they don't talk like real human beings. They just talk about God's blessings and goodness. And are we supposed to? Of course. But for every story of believers and answered prayers that we've shared here in this building, in this congregation, there are stories of prayers that did not get answered the way that we wanted them to. And yet God is still in control and God is still good. Can I get an amen? And so when we look at Elizabeth, when we look at Mary, we are looking at stories of self-denial. We are looking at stories where they had to put their will down and they had to trust the Lord. But putting our will down does not mean hating ourselves or having contempt for ourselves. Mary still had her identity as the mother of God. Elizabeth still had her identity as a woman who had experienced years and years of barrenness. And as Richard Foster says, on the contrary, Jesus calls us to self-denial without self-hatred. Self-denial is simply a way of coming to understand that we do not have to have our own way. Our happiness is not dependent upon getting what we want. And Mary lives this out. Elizabeth lives this out. Every single saint who follows Christ must live this out. To deny ourselves, as it says in Mark and as it says in the Gospels. To lay down our lives, to let the life of Christ live through us. Does not mean to erase our past. Does not mean to erase our identity. Does not mean to talk syrupy sweet about Jesus and say, if I do this, everything will come out the way that I want. No, it's not. Let's stop doing that. But it's supposed to be a raw, genuine following after God with faithfulness, with joy, even when it's challenging. Being able to hold two things together, blessings and pain, at the same time, realizing that we have hope. It might not be here yet, but we have it. The work is done for us on the cross, but we have to live through it. And as I started this morning with a story of our journey, our pregnancy together, I wanted to end with this story. And this is Sky Jathani. He's a pastor, writer. And he shared this several days ago. I think his son, his birthday is around this time, and he shared this. And it's a long story, but I wanted to read it because I feel like it shows us what Christmas this time should mean. 17 years ago today, several days ago, I was taking a train into Chicago to visit a friend when my wife called. She was in premature labor and being rushed to the hospital. I switched trains and got there just in time for my son Isaac to be born. Of their marriage years later.